And we are in overtime. Welcome on in, Boise State Bronco fans, to Bronco Nation Live Overtime. I'm Nick Wade, joined by my guy Sam Gillette from Sam Talk Sports. We ran out of time on the live broadcast, so this is where we dig deeper into the basketball teams. So let's start with Boise State women's basketball. Because Wednesday night inside the X, they showed what kind of grit you want to see in February. The Broncos came back from a 12-point deficit to beat Air Force 70-62 and improved to 21-6 overall and 12-4 in Mountain West play. Good enough for second place in the conference. Natalie Pascal led the way with 21 points. Tatum Thompson added 18 and 5 boards. Libby Hutton punched in 14, including a massive and one and a late block that helped put the game away. A couple of big team notes was this was their first win of the season when trailing after the third quarter. They shot 50% from the field, their first 50% game since early January. They're also now 14-1 at home this season. And ball movement, beautiful. Danny Bays tied her career high with 6 assists, and freshman Morgan Maldonado added a career high 4 dishes. Now they hit the road Saturday to face San Jose State at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, a matchup where they'll look to keep that third quarter dominance rolling. Boise State has outscored opponents 539 to 420 in the third this season. All right, Sam, before we move on, let me ask you a couple things about what I laid out and what happened on Wednesday. Sam, when you look at that comeback, being down by 12, we've talked about this before about, timeout management, but they were down by 12. Which element impressed you more, the defensive stands late or the composure on offense to chip away possession by possession?
I kind of went back and forth with this one because you can't score if you don't have the offense to do it. And Boise State has that offensive firepower. But I got to lean to the defense, Nick. Air Force had control of the game fairly early on and throughout most of the entirety there until the end. And at one point, I'm like, you know what? This might be another loss for the ladies, but maybe they'll get it out of their system here and move on. But Boise State strung together stops at exactly the right time. When you stop the bleeding and force tough possessions, momentum flips quickly. And Boise State did that with that defensive discipline and really just not letting the game get too far out of their reach and was able to pull it off there in the end.
Yeah, and if you look at the stats here, even though Air Force has posted a 12-4 record, 6-10 in conference, they were riding a 4-game win streak. So things looked a little bit scary there in going into the third quarter. But in this case, it did help that Coach P did save those timeouts because and that's the thing. Like with that strategy, it's like you live or you die by hoarding the timeouts. And this time it paid off. But late in the third quarter, in that third quarter burst, they were 7 points. They scored 7 points in under a minute. Do you see that same thing happening consistently to create the spark that they need and timely going forward?
We've had several of the ladies on the show talk to them at length. We know that they can fire at will. Any one of them can go off on a scoring streak. So I honestly think it is sustainable. It may not come from the same people every time, but it is sustainable. Last night it came from defensive pressure, smart reads, unselfish passing, not luck. When Maldonado and Bays are clicking, those quick runs can happen any night. And again, it's not just them either. You've got Hutton and Pascal and any of them. I mean, really, they could all just go off for 20 at any given moment, and Tatum Thompson too. I mean, this team is built around not having to rely on any one person the entire season, but being able to rely on one person for a single game if needed.
And we've been covering every single game this whole season, since looking at these Fab Four, and then also Libby Hutton just kind of emerging as that sophomore. Heading into San Jose, who do you think needs to set the tone early? I mean, we've seen a variety of people setting tone, but who do you like the best, and the best chances that we have when we do win these games, when there's no doubt? Who do you look to set that pace early, to give us the best chance to win?
This is another one of those going back and forth on it, but I gotta settle on Libby Hutton. Her energy sets the pace. If she's aggressive early, driving, cutting, defending, the rest of the team kind of settles in behind her, and I think that's going to be key against San Jose State, and especially in not letting the younger players go. Oh, it's just San Jose State. We got this in the bag.
Yeah, and I think we had that Bronco talk with Danny, and she had mentioned Libby, and then it was reinforced by Maya Hansen just recently, and we're seeing that. We're seeing it on the court when she gets involved and she gets those boards, she gets in the paint. You pick your poison. It's either you're gonna get manhandled by Thompson or Hutton. So I like that those 1-2 punches there in the post. With that being said, let's look ahead to San Jose State. Coming off this big win over Air Force, it really was a gritty win over a hot Air Force team. When San Jose State and the two teams meet, Boise State has a real opportunity to impose its strengths in their matchup. We see San Jose State, they're 4-23 overall, 12-14 in conference. And they average about 57 points per game. They're shooting 33.6 from the field and committing about 18.4 turnovers per game. Boise State, meanwhile, brings 70.9 points per game with a 42.7 shooting percentage, and forces opponents into uncomfortable offensive nights thanks to their pace and execution. I really like their chances in this, but as we've seen in the season, nothing's given, especially on the road. So the players to watch, as usual, the preseason player of the year for Mountain West is Tatum Thompson. She's averaging 14.5 points with 7.3 boards. Maya Hansen's leading the team with 4.6 dishes a game. San Jose State leans heavily on Maya Anderson in opposition, who averages 13.2 points and 6.2 boards for them. So she's going to need help to keep up with Boise State's bounce, because she's basically a one. They're all-star amongst
Right.
everyone else. So with Maya Anderson for San Jose State, she's the hub. And then Riley Waff runs points, and she averages about 2.6 assists per game. So Anderson's usage is the lever San Jose State must pull to keep pace with our Broncos. Recent form also favors Boise State. They've won matchups by controlling the glass and pushing tempo. They average 16.2 assists per game, which is awesome, to San Jose State's 11. And they score 13 points more per game if you do the math, which we tried. So my math says that they're scoring 13 more points per game than San Jose State does. So this matchup is where Boise State can dictate terms early and often. So now, with all that in mind, Sam, let me ask you this. Given how inefficient San Jose State has been offensively with all those turnovers and just the 33.6 shooting percentage, what area do you think Boise State can exploit right away to prevent San Jose State from gaining any rhythm, so we don't have to worry about Coach B taking any timeouts in the first half?
Uh, I'd say ball control. Get after them early, force a bunch of turnovers, get out to a quick lead. Uh, I'd start there. Set the tone early in the paint. Don't let them get in. Don't let them get those easy shots off. Keep pressure on them where that 33.6% shooting uh, goes lower than that. Just don't let them get the ball up, and you got a good chance at this one getting out of hand really early.
Yeah, and with San Jose being basically a turnover factory with those 18.4 turnovers per game, do you see this being another game where Boise State's guard play, their pressure presents a major role, and then be able to see some of these youngsters get in like Maldonado and Garrett Thompson and there while Maya gets some rest.
Yeah, and I can see basically the bench getting the entire fourth quarter in this one. If they can expand on those 18 turnovers a game and push them in that 20 to 25 and turn those turnovers into points, and you're up 50 by the third quarter. Doable. We've seen them do it before. Well, 30 anyway. But
Mhm.
I think you could see a lot of those young players sitting on the bench coming in and getting some meaningful play time, not just the last couple minutes of the half or the game.
Yeah, and it's going to be really beneficial, coming into the tournament. And then again, we need to get them some experience because next year we're losing, those future Hall of Famers, the super seniors. So Tatum Thompson has been such a steady force. She's basically the Swiss Army knife. She can do it all. Based on her production, 14 and a half points, 7.3 boards per game. What does she need to do early to set the tone in this matchup? And I think I know what you're going to say.
Rebound. Is that what I was going to say?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be some like a
Third,
defensive orientated.
yeah, 33.6% shooting by San Jose State. That means they're going to jack up a bunch of shots and a bunch of them aren't going to fall. And if she's there to clean them up and dish out and get the ball pushed up the court, granted, Boise State's not a great fast break offense, but if she can get that ball up the court and push, you're going to wear out San Jose State and be able to really just run them over late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and do whatever you want.
I think you're right. I think that's what she's good at doing, and she's got the mentality and the way that she works. She just goes in there and does whatever she wants at will, and Libby can do it too.
Yeah. Let's talk some men's basketball, Nick. Boise State fell 75-56 at Utah State. I know a lot of the fans kind of had high hopes. This was the last quad one win opportunity as it sits right now for Boise State to try and get that back in at large conversation. With this loss now, they're completely a one trick pony now. Win the tournament and you're in. Any other laws or any other outcome, and they're I don't even think they can get in the CBI at this point, or even the Crown. They're that far gone. So it's a win and in for Boise State. They're 15-11 overall, 17-8 in the Mountain West. Really a tell of two halves and a really big, two big scoring droughts. Uh, that you had the 9-0 run, or excuse me, Boise State built their 7-point lead off of a 9-0 run and then went scoreless. They could not find the bottom of the bucket if it was the size of the Grand Canyon in the final 8.5 minutes of the first half. And Utah State capitalized. They had that 16-2 run and then pushed it out to a 26-2 run with the 10-0 run to blow the game wide open there in the second half. And I think I sent you a text there and uh, said, "Yeah, I'm going to bed. I'm not watching this." As much as I wanted to, I had to be up early the next morning. But it was really ugly. It seems like Boise State likes to get up in a lead and then get comfortable there and forget how to play defense. So that's my take on it. But they shot just 37% from the field, um, 30, I think 31, 32% from deep, well below their recent output on offense of 86 points per game. And Boise State and Utah State are two of the highest scoring offenses in the Mountain West, and Boise State was held to just 56 points there, well below the recent output they've done. The Utah State's defense just clogged everything up. It didn't seem like Boise State was able to answer anything. They played small, and I made a comment on a post in the group that Leon Rice is notorious for not having any true bigs uh, or any kind of anybody that plays big. And I got chastised for it because people were uh, talking about height, and I wasn't talking about height. You can be the tallest guy in the world and play like an ant. And it seems like Boise State's just not playing to the size that they can be playing to. But still, Drew Fielder, most productive player on the floor with 14 points, 8 rebounds. Parolin off the bench contributed 9 points as well, and then Andrews added 9 points. Even after the loss, Boise State still averages around 79 points on 45% shooting and 77% at the line. So the pieces are all still there. They just got to be all there the entire game, and really, it's defense that's lacking. Uh, Boise State used to be a proud defensive basketball team, and now it's just not there. But they return home for San Jose State on Saturday at 2 p.m. You heard those long scoring droughts I mentioned, 8+ minutes to end the half. What do you think causes that more often? Poor shot selection or poor offensive structure when pressure ramps up?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both, and also some time management too. So, like my criticism with Coach P, you can kind of use that also with the men's team as well. Is when you're having those long stretches, especially in the men's game, because you get those timeouts back on the back end after the half.
Right.
But my also what I think is going on too is there's not enough in-game adjustment, and that's just causing, there's not any structure, and alignment when it comes to in those scoring droughts. It's basically a free for all. What I see, there's not real cohesiveness, and I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing personalities rise above the principle of the teamwork aspect. So Utah took away that their initial look, and the Broncos didn't pivot quickly enough. And when you're not making those in-game adjustments, that just is going to compound the issue as every minute ticks away during that drought.
You mentioned earlier how important momentum swings can be. In this game, Utah State had 2 huge ones. What's the keys to stopping those runs before they get out of hand?
And that's why, I'm a firm believer in that time management, and also and utilizing that time, those timeouts. And that's where having the staff that can put together the X's and O's and know how to adjust and pivot to what they're seeing on a night. Because you may have already played Utah State, but I can guarantee you they're not using the same strategy again. So that's where it comes in really handy, if you have the staff and the knowledge to be able to call those timeouts, reset, and then pivot, just like you want your players to do on the court. The staff needs to do the same thing.
Yeah. Looking ahead to San Jose State, who's the one Bronco who absolutely has to assert himself early on if they're going to get back in the win column?
Well, the easy answer is Drew Fielder, which I don't disagree with, but for me, I think it's Andrew Meadow.
Mm-hmm.
During the course of the season, if he shoots more than six, if he has more than six attempts, which is absurd for Andrew Meadow, their odds of winning are so high, and that just hasn't been happening this season, and I don't understand why, but I think you got to get him involved early and often, and when that happens, they most assuredly win those games.
Yeah. Well, speaking of San Jose State, the Broncos prepare for the Trojans, who are 7-19 overall, 2-13 in the Mountain West. Coming off a tough stretch, but still with plenty of firepower. Boise State averages 79.3 points per game, shoots 45.3 from the field, and is 77.7 from the line. Hit that Vegas slot machine right there, 777s. Should be a good omen, right?
Yeah, cha-ching.
Drew Fielder, 14 points per game on 54% from the floor or from the field. Dylan Andrews, 12.3 points per game, dishing out 3.5 times a game. Andrew Meadow, 11.9 points per game, even though he's been in a slump where it really hasn't been able to get any kind of double-digit scoring. We hope that turns around. He's shooting 53.7% from the floor. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on. It's got to be a head game for him or something. Maybe they're saving him for the tournament. I don't know, but something's going on there. And then Javen Buchanan, 12 points per game, 40.7 from the floor. These four give Boise State a scoring core that San Jose State they cannot match statistically. They've got Colby Garland, is a bucket among the Mountain West scoring leaders at 19 points per game. In the primary Spartan, you must tilt your defense towards, and we don't need him having another what's his face moment from
Kid
UNLV.
Lawhorn.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, none of that.
I hate that guy. It's sad that he had his career, both of his season or his career nights came against Boise State. Like he did it to you in one match, and you ain't gonna defend for him. I don't know. Anyway, we're not talking about that. San Jose State, on the other hand, has had major struggles this year. Boise State already has a comfortable win over them in the first meeting. They need to reestablish pace, tighten their turnovers, and let their shot creators cook, and get Andrew Meadow the ball. Let him get back in that in a groove. I think this game could be big for that. With the home crowd backing them, this is an ideal bounce back game. If people show up, Bronco Nation, pack the X. Nick, based on Boise State's offensive profile, 79 points per game on 45% shooting, what part of their offensive identity do you think they need to lean on most to overwhelm San Jose State?
I think Boise State's really been fortunate throughout the season. They're 15-11. This is a down season, compared to what Bronco Nation is used to. But it seems like these losses, these heartbreakers that they have, the schedule has been really kind to them because it's kind of served them up, not that they should take them lightly, but, served them up another get right team that's struggling. So in this one, I think this is going to be key just to get the fellas back cohesive. I think this would be a good game to get Meadow and Buchanan back in the groove, get them scoring. Start getting this engine warmed up and see what they can do to get past the finish line and see if they can get a good peak going into the tournament. Because right now, their position in their tournament is kind of bleak. With 4 or 5 games left, games like this could give them the opportunity to reignite that spark that's needed to make a really late season run here.
Yeah. You heard the numbers on Fielder, 14 points per game on 54% shooting. Do you think he's the key matchup advantage Boise State should ride early and often?
I think in this game that's where they should go, because that's going to open things up for Meadow around the perimeter. And if they get him going early and he starts dominating, then they're going to focus their attention to the paint, and that allow Andrew Meadow and even Javen Buchanan to get open and then be able to get some action around the perimeter, and then doing vintage Meadow form, drive it into the paint from the post and put his will on the Spartans here.
Yeah. And finally, given that Andrews, Meadow, and Buchanan are all double-figure scorers, who do you see as the pace setter Boise State needs to ignite the offense and put this one away?
Well, I think that it should run through Andrews here. DA should be, a facilitator, but I think in this game, I mean, we know that he can score. He's been trending higher in the last 6 games, but I think in this game, what I would like to see is the team start meshing, right, and then get that structure that we're talking about, right. Get those plays moving in the right direction, and use DA as more of a facilitator. They can get their double figures in this game. All 4 of them could if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that consistency and just have a nice all around game and limit the turnovers. But yeah, I think if DA's dishing, they should be able to score, in the high 80s if they wanted to.
I agree.
Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Bronco Nation Live Overtime. Big weekend ahead. Women on the road at San Diego State. The men back home hosting Spartans. Catch both games on the Mountain West Network and radio coverage on KBOI. For Sam Gillette, I'm Nick Wade. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you next time. And as always, go Broncos.
Blue Elevation Elevating, Bronco sports through fans like you. Every donation fuels Boise State athletics, scholarships, and community projects, helping student athletes reach championship levels. With over $13,000 raised, Blue Elevation is Boise State's #1 crowdsourcing outlet. Join the movement, elevate the Broncos, and make every gift count. Visit blueelevation.org to elevate Boise State to the next level.